It's now time for The Sit Down with Don Tony.
The Sit Down, where Don Tony talks one-on-one with his followers.
What are you looking at?
About the world of pro wrestling, pop culture, and so much more.
The Sit Down with Don Tony.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
Hey, what are you looking at, eh? How you doing, everybody? It is Easter Sunday, April 17th, 2022. I am back. Had a nice day, spent it with my mom, with my dad, my bro, his family, my fiance, couple of annoying dogs. So I was with my family earlier. Now I am with the family, La Nostra Familia. Hope everybody is having a great night tonight. And you don't have to be Italian to be a member of the family. You know, a lot of people may not realize in order to be in the mafia, you have to be 100% Italian because, as they said in the movie Goodfellas, they do have to be able to trace back your whole family. But here, no, you don't have to be Italian. We're all family here. I hope everybody had a great weekend. The grind begins again tomorrow at Monday. And I tell you, it's going to be an interesting Raw tomorrow. Expect a lot of goofiness. Don't forget, we have the double wedding. We have the lie detector test with Ezekiel. You know, Kevin Owens is going to fail a couple of questions as well. So, we'll get some good wrestling mixed in. Becky Lynch tonight, I think, is facing Bianca for the women's championship. And I loved it. She cut a promo on Twitter tonight talking about Syracuse, because that's where they're at tonight. And she is not ready to be on Raw without her championship. And almost teasing that if she loses tonight, she won't be on Raw tomorrow. But what I loved about it is she looked disheveled. Her makeup looked a little bit off. Her hair was kind of messy. If you remember that night that she lost to Bianca, I said, you got to keep this like rattled, psycho, just distraught persona. You got to continue that. And she is nailing it. She is nailing it. I know, in this day and age, it's hard to, get enough time to really develop a persona or a character, or, hey, in many cases, even a storyline, but she's nailing it. The only thing is she's going to have to return to TV soon. We still don't have a match, other than Sonya Deville, and Sonya Deville is just to buy extra time. So we'll see what happens. How's everybody doing tonight? Yes, I am here tonight for all of you. I will be hanging out in the chat the entire episode. Sunday nights a Q&A, live chat. If there's enough demand for it later, we can open the phone lines. That's up to everybody who is tuning in. I will answer all of your questions in the chat. I will answer super chats. Obviously, they get a little bit of VIP treatment. But all I ask is that two things. If you're going to post questions in the chat, write in capital letters the word question first, only because a lot of you like to chat with each other, and that helps me spot the questions that much quicker. Another thing is, spread it around, spread it around. If you post a question, I answer it, let some others ask theirs, and then you could ask again in a little bit. So I saw earlier, who was it that asked me my thoughts on Dalton Castle? Who was that? Not that Castle, Dalton Castle. I'm going down the list. I can't find it. Well, I know somebody asked earlier. My thoughts on Dalton Castle. And what did he say here? Hold on. I'm just pulling it up. I saw it, then I let it go, and now I see it again. Dalton Castle. It was a good question, too. Damn. Where is it? I can't find it. Wow. That's pretty weird. Anyway, somebody asked earlier my thoughts on Dalton Castle. Do I think he could be a regular in AEW? There's too many people in AEW already. You know, I'm a fan of AEW and I'll support them. I'll criticize them. I'll praise them. But what's starting to really get exposed now is the smoke and mirrors that have been going on for a while. You know, yesterday we talked about the 4 pillars in the tag team division, the Stars of Tomorrow. And one of those 4 pillars, the Varsity Blondes, have never won a match on Dynamite or Rampage. One other, I believe, only had the last time they won a match was in like 650 days. It's crazy shit. Now people are bringing to my attention that Buddy Matthews, who was signed 2 months ago, has yet to have a singles match on Dynamite or Rampage. You look at the controversy about 6 weeks ago. Remember that with Tony Nese? Tony Nese complaining, this is not what I signed up for. Oh, we'll give you a main event match on Rampage. Oh, thank you. And after that, nothing. So now he's going to get squashed, by Hook? Isn't he supposed to get squashed by Hook in the very near future? So people are starting to see. I mean, look, Tony Storm. Didn't I say, let's see a month from now how many matches she has. That's not Dark in Elevation against Schmuck number 1 and Lisa Lips, Pierced Lips number 2. You know, people are starting to realize. And look, I don't have any problem with the Dark Elevation matches, but remember, Warner Media has nothing to do with Dark or Elevation. Warner Media. So now you have to start asking yourself, does Warner Media want these young stars actually developing and winning on their programming? Or when they're on their TV, they're mixed in with factions. They give this, perception that they're actually on the winning side. But when you actually start dissecting it, there's some wrestlers that have never had a singles match on Rampage or Dynamite. So I think they're going to start getting put under the microscope a little bit more. And this Ring of Honor stuff is getting really interesting really quick, because last night, and we said it right at the end of the show, Satnam Singh, they had him interact after the Jonathan Gresham-Dalton Castle match. How many Ring of Honor fans really want Satnam Singh a part of Ring of Honor? And, let's be honest. I am excited to see what Tony Khan does with Ring of Honor. I am. Because this is a guy with mega bucks. This is a guy with the drive, the energy, and the willingness to even take a loss just to see something grow. So, that might be the definition of a money mark to a lot of people out there, but, that's for our entertainment pleasure. But the thing is, I don't know how many AEW fans, look, before Ring of Honor had their final battle, they were drawing shit. I mean, they had good talent. They had good quality talent there, and they were still drawing shit. TV was non-existent. So now you have a lot of the same people there, and you're given this perception that an AEW wrestler is also a Ring of Honor wrestler. And, I don't know how many people are going to be really happy about all of this Ring of Honor thrown into their TV set, because at the same time, it's cool to see Jonathan Gresham. It's cool to see Dalton Castle. A lot of people don't even realize Dalton Castle's been in Ring of Honor for like 7 or 8 years, maybe even longer than that. I saw him wrestle Hangman Page in a Ring of Honor match like 7 years ago. Guy's been around. It's kind of funny to see some people in the last 24 hours who claim to have been, longtime Ring of Honor fans acting like they never saw Dalton Castle before. This guy's been a pretty big star in Ring of Honor for the last 7, 8, 9 years. But, you got to start getting more TV time for these wrestlers, and it can't be backstage segments. It can't be fucking trios matches over and over and over and over and over again. We have the announcement on Wednesday, and I think it might be a trios title, maybe not, but we'll see what happens. So, but Dalton Castle, I think he actually would do decent in AEW, but there's so many other people that are much higher on the food chain. I mean, with all due respect, they made such a big deal about Scorpio Sky winning this championship, history. And then in a matter of a couple of weeks, the title is gone. He doesn't have it anymore. And look, I'm not complaining about Sammy Guevara getting it. I wrote it on Twitter today. I absolutely love what Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti are doing. I saw that 6 weeks ago. And a lot of you were yelling at me 6 weeks ago. They're not heels. They're not even trying to be heels. Oh, no? They're just a couple. You don't think this was deliberate, guys, gals? This is the official banner from AEW announcing Sammy Guevara as the new TNT champion. Sealed with a kiss. I saw that shit 6 weeks ago, that this was going to be the slow burn of Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti being that toxic, almost beautiful, perfect couple that everybody is going to be jealous, everybody's going to be bitter, everybody's going to be angry, and it's hilarious to see the people that were supporting them that didn't see this coming. I mean, over and over and over again, you'd see people online like, why are people booing them? They're a great couple, they're good people, they're friendly, this and that. Stop incorporating real life into entertainment. Because when you do that, what you see on the screen is the result. The reason why Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara are kissing just for AEW to announce Sammy as the new TNT champion is because the insistence of the majority of the internet wrestling community to incorporate their personal life and carry it over to TV. And 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, when she took her profile off of social media for a little while, they made that decision. Okay, since everything about us is going to be tabloid discussion, let's run with it on TV. Her wearing tight jeans with her ass cheeks sticking out, constantly kissing, all the posing, hashtag be mad, hashtag you mad, hashtag stay mad. They've been doing this for 6+ weeks. And I love every minute of it. Every minute of it. Okay. I see somebody made an offer that it's going to be hard for me to refuse. I know a few of you said this tonight before we went live. Mikey Ravello sending in the 100 spot. Don Tony, the only Don Tony in wrestling. Thank you. I appreciate that. There's room for more than one Don Tony in wrestling. See, when you go and check out these history channels on YouTube and they talk about the mafia, the Genovese family, the Bonanno family, and you go down the list, trust me, there was a lot of people named John. There was a lot of people named Giuseppe or Joe. There was a lot of people named Tony. There were more than one Don Tonys in the history of, so it's okay, everybody. I know there's a little fun online because Tony D'Angelo in NXT, he's not a Don Tony of NXT. He's the Don Tony of professional wrestling. Yeah, he's the one busting his ass in the ring. He is the Don Tony of professional wrestling. I'm not going to sit here and try to act like some celebrity. I'm not. I'm not changing my shit, and I've already put him through a company to trademark my stuff. And when I trademark it and it goes through, I will not be sending any cease and desist to WWE. No, man, that's cool. That's awesome. But anyway, Mikey made an offer. He says, Don Tony, the only Don Tony in wrestling. You teased it, but never told us Saturday. So here's a little something that may refresh your memory. If you are the Don and we are your family, tell us, what's the huge announcement coming about your shows? All right. I know a few of you said it earlier. And look, when I win, we all win because it gives me extra, expenditure. It gives me extra enjoyment, extra drive. the support, whether it's audio, video, combination thereof, telling people, super chat, regular chat, kissing my ass, telling me to go fuck myself. I appreciate it all. So I can't get into, you could add a zero to that. I still can't get into everything. But look, I'm not going to lose no deals if I don't say some of it. I'm pretty confident with that. All right. I don't think this is going to affect YouTube in any way. I do know for a fact that the numbers on YouTube will be going down. And I know what you're saying right now, DT, how is that good news? Look, you ask anybody out there that does a show on YouTube, and I'm learning 2 years and I realize it. You go to YouTube, unless you make some crazy videos that go viral with millions of views or hundreds of thousands of views, you make gots on YouTube. You make shit on YouTube. These WrestleMania recaps that we did, I think, what did we get on the video side? We got 7,000 for the night that I did it with the guys. And then the second night, I did 8,000. So you got a 15,000. I think I made $7. I'm just being honest. Super chats obviously are a big deal. But YouTube, I came here to have video, to be animated, to be able to show you things so you could see my eyes. We can have kind of a little bit of a visual, but still the majority of everybody that tunes in is just audio. It's about 85 to 90%. The audio numbers are through the roof. And if I start focusing on just iTunes and nowhere else, you see, I don't give a shit if I'm ranked 55th or 5th. As long as everybody tunes in, that's all that matters. I don't care if it's available in 95 places or 5, as long as people tune in. So anyway, here's the deal. There is a gigantic investment that has just been put in for a wrestling network. I don't want to say who it is. All I will tell you is that some of the big names in wrestling, yes, in wrestling, are involved with projects for this network. The people behind this network have pretty huge backing behind them. I'm sure you've seen some press releases of people announcing some big projects with this particular network, and it just started, and there's going to be apps, there's going to be live streamings, there's going to be pay-per-views, there's going to be all that. It's not Fight. This is new. Well, the bottom line is that you all know, shout out to BlueWire, you all know that BlueWire offered me a contract, made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and we are killing that shit. We are having a blast. So it carried over to watch parties. Hey, this company, Playback, would love for you to do their watch parties. All right. Now, obviously, not every wrestling show, was available. I don't blame people. Top Rope, I think, is doing, Dynamite. So they're like, you want to do Rampage? Out of everything? How's about Rampage, NXT, and SmackDown? Okay, now you're talking. So we do the 3 watch parties. Well, this particular wrestling network and a few friendly faces, I think I could say that, a few friendly faces that are working with this network, they reached out and they said, we want Don Tony's video podcasts on our network. So they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So in the very near future, my video episodes will be available on their network. They are not looking for quantity. They are looking for quality. And that's why I take so much pride about BlueWire. You go on BlueWire, BlueWirePods.com. I think there's only 8 wrestling shows on there. And when you're talking about Chris Van Vliet, Sam Roberts, Gallows and Anderson, Top Rope, JD from New York, and maybe 2 others, I mean, that's elite company there. I mean, you notice they only have 8 because they only want good quality and people with followings. So when I came to YouTube, there were a lot of people here that were like, DT, look at that channel. He's got 10 times the number of people tuning in. Okay. Personally, off the record, not trying to be an asshole, enjoy your $13 of revenue, And I'm not talking about JD or Jason or, the ones that people try to instigate wars with. But when someone says to me, hey, that person got 10 times the number of people who tune in. First of all, they're not including the audio side because the majority of everybody only watches. Not everybody wants to see my ugly face. There's no reason to. So I'm like, that's fine. I'm not here to steal other people's stats. And I'm not here to go viral. I'm here to serve my family and to build the family. And whether you watch video, I don't ever want anyone to ever feel like if they don't watch video, if they don't do the audio, if they don't do here, that they're doing something wrong. But believe me, when you put everything together, the numbers are crazy. And the fact that people still tune in, and I'm doing this 25 years, what's wrong with all of you? Seriously, what's wrong with you? What makes you tune in? I don't get it sometimes. Even my fiance, she's like, why do they tune in to you? But she says that more complimentary than anything else. So that's the deal. That's the deal. My video versions of the shows will be on this now. Well, look, you still got to sign some papers. It's in the early stages, but the offer was made, and yes, there were, numbers involved, and I accepted it. So once the papers are signed, which could be this week, probably next week at the latest, and they say, DT, you can announce it, and I will announce it. Not trying to play on words, but a couple of wrestlers online say this phrase. Maybe you don't like the promotion idea. Maybe you don't like some of the people behind it. I don't know why. But, anyone out there, if you put your mind to it and you work hard, you too can control your narrative. I'm just playing on words, not trying to cause anything. I'm just, you control yourself. And this is what I always say also, too. And this goes to everybody out there that ever decides they want to do a podcast. Your limitations is endless. Where you could go with it is endless. But always, always take this personal advice from me. Never take your audience for granted. I could lie. I could turn around right now and say, everyone, I could put it in the top of the news. Something's going down with Tammy Sitch in a matter of days. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm not looking to clickbait to get thousands of people to tune in just to hear that one or two sentences. I'm telling you that without putting it in the title. But I'm not going to start clickbaiting. I'm not. Jon Moxley, Joe Cronin, and I said it on Thursday. Big shout out to Joe. And again, if you haven't checked out the show yet, it was awesome Thursday. We talked about it too. Jon Moxley right now is happy with his schedule. He just dealt with rehab. His body physically and mentally feels good. He feels right now there's a perfect balance with what he's doing. So the chances of him going to WWE at this very moment is slim to none. Anything is possible. But the fact is, the only people who know if Jon Moxley would sign with WWE now is Jon Moxley and his wife. I think their kid might be a little bit too young to understand that. And I don't think the kid is going on text message and going to wrestling websites and saying, hey, I got some news for you. I got some news. I heard Daddy in the other room talking to Mommy, and he said he's got to... Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Jon Moxley and Renee are the only people that know. So we could sit here and clickbait it and exaggerate it and tease it and put it everywhere. I don't do that. I find it disrespectful to use you to try to inflate stuff. But here's my advice. Never take your listeners or viewers for granted, because you never know who is tuning in. You never know who is tuning in. And if you're straight up and you're honest and you're respectful about it, It may not be sexy, it may not generate numbers, but it generates respect. And I got to tell you, in the last 7 days, the number of DMs that I have gotten from people in wrestling, and I'm not saying it as a bragging thing, but the fact is, when you have people DM you like, brother, I heard what you said the other day. Thank you. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for what you said. Keep up the good work. We don't throw names out there because, a lot of people, they want to keep their names, incognito. If they want to say something public, that's fine. And I'm not the only one. I guarantee you, Jason and JD and Joe and everyone else are getting it as well. But me, I take pride on just telling it like it is. And you never know who is tuning it. They can tell who is just winging it. They can tell who is just doing shit just to do it. They can tell who is doing it and just doing it to try to make money, try to be famous, try to feel relevant, try to do this. They know who is doing it and who is doing it for the right reasons. And it blows me away. It blows me away what has transpired so far. So enough of me rambling. For the rest of the show, I answer everything you ask. But I had to say that because he offered 100. I had to come up with something. All right, one more super chat, and then we will spend quite a bit of time in the chat room. Team Forward. Actually, 2 more super chats. Would I ever do a collab with Showstopper TV? I got your DM the other day. I've checked out his channel before. Yeah, I would do it. He's not a bad guy. I mean, the funny thing about it, let me just tell you, is, I have a friend that does a podcast, and the name of his podcast is very, very similar to Showstopper TV. And I thought it was him originally. And when I first saw it, that's why I didn't get back to him. I'm like, what's he asking for? He knows that I would do that. And then I said, wait a minute. I got to double check this here. And then I double checked this. Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of feel bad that you had to super chat that for the question. But yeah, I would. Look, I'm not saying this to try to pander, or I'm just like you all out there. I'm not no celebrity. I'm not going to start going on Twitter. You see all these people on Twitter, fans, blogs, and anybody could do the duck face. Anybody could throw makeup on. Anybody could put a suit, because we're not just talking about women, we're talking about both sides. And they try to make themselves look like celebrities. Every wrestler that says, hey, wow, I just farted, and there's a little blood in the toilet paper. And then the same people every time, oh my God, you too? Oh my God, it happened to me 2 weeks ago. Take some magnesium and use warm water. And oh my God, are you serious? And then someone will put something else on there. The same people over and over again, because they want to feel that they have that personal connection to the wrestlers. And I don't have any problem with it. I don't, criticize them. But then you look at their bios and everybody thinks that they are a celebrity. And good for them. Play pretend. I am not a celebrity. I'll never try to act like one. I'll never try to be like one. So yeah, if, we have good conversation and he wants to pick my brain about something, that's fine. But if it's a hit or if it's a setup, then I say, okay, all right. This is how it would go down if anyone out there ever tried to do a hit or a setup. Hey, something's wrong with my camera. Oh shit, I don't know what happened here. Hey guys, I'm really, really sorry. Look, there's some weird things going on. There's look, I look like an Indian. Look at my skin color. Oh my God. Technical difficulties immediately. Hey, I can't. I don't think anybody's going to try to set me up. That's all right. I'm not that bad of a guy. I love this. Chris Cutler. A wrestler being made a manager really should not be seen as negative. It's more of a vote of confidence in that the promotion sees a guy that has talent and personality to get other guys over. Yesterday, I made a joke on the show. Yesterday, I said, what's wrong with these people that go to these live shows? Does anybody have good cameras? Did you see those photos of Mace and LA Knight yesterday? Did you see that garbage? I got to show you one of them. One of them was so bad, I thought it was Shane McMahon. I'm not kidding. Where is it? I got it right here. Here it is. This is the photo that came out yesterday. I'm looking at that. I'm like, that's Shane McMahon on the right. Here comes the money. Come on. If you didn't read the spoilers, you would have thought Shane McMahon came out. Damian Priest looks fat. Why is Damian Priest wearing a gray shirt? He looks fat. That's what it looked like. That's LA Knight and Mace. And trust me, Mace is not fat. But what's wrong with the quality? Technology in 2022. They're taking pictures like from a 110 camera. Where's my Hulk Hogan camera? It's somewhere. So I got DM'd this morning. Hey, DT, I heard what you said yesterday about the shit quality of, their appearance. Let me send you the actual match. Let me send you the promo. So this was given to me. How's that? That a better picture? How's that? That's from SmackDown. That is LA Knight, Manager Mace. Much better, right? Remember when I said that he kind of looked a little bit like Milli Vanilli? Yeah, look at it now. Thank you for the awesome pictures. And by the way, if you go to my Twitter, @DonTonyD, you could actually watch in regular high definition quality the original feed from WWE with LA Knight bringing out Mace. And you could watch on my Twitter the actual match between Mace and Eric of the Viking Raiders. You could watch that. Take note, WWE never takes it down. Because most times that I ever put something up, I ask respectfully, is it okay if I stream this? You could put a couple of quick motion videos on Twitter, on YouTube, but don't go past that. If you notice, I never get flagged, never get shit taken down. You ask. If you ask nicely, 9 times out of 10, if you're not trying to profit off of it, if you're not trying to make it for paid members only, 9 times out of 10, if you don't abuse it, you get the okay. And just to answer what Chris was saying again, I commend all of you out there over the last 12 hours since this morning when I posted the actual feed. Majority of you out there are saying the same thing. Yeah. If this is like Roddy Piper vibes, as we talked about yesterday from 84, 85, when Piper was managing Bob Orton, Dr. D, David Schultz, Paul Orndorff, and he was also wrestling, taking on Hogan and Snuka and the Tonga Kid and everybody else. Yeah. Nobody ever said LA Knight was just going to be a manager, just like Adam Cole. Adam Cole was never offered to do this, but all the rumors that were floating around and everything that I looked into, I said it back then as well. If this is what they want Adam Cole to do, they want him to wrestle still. It's not hang up the boots, be a manager only. Nobody ever said that LA Knight was not going to be wrestling. If this is, he's not going to wear a kilt and he's not going to sound like Piper, but if this is a guy that could help get Mace over and a few others, I think this group should continue. Maybe you get the grizzled young veterans or somebody else, this could be awesome. And props to everyone out there who saw that and didn't just go on the surface and say, oh my God, Night Model Management. What the hell is that? Night Model Management. They had to come up with something as a reason why LA Knight would want Mace. What is LA Knight supposed to say? Hey, I opened up a restaurant and I got the best cook in town, and he brings out Mace. What is he going to say? Is he going to say, oh, I opened up a dance club and I got the best dancer in town? What is he going to do? Oh, I opened up this karate school and I got the best karate wrestler in town. They went with Night Model Management. So anybody in the group is going to look pretty attractive. It's going to also have some ability. Now, I look at the grizzled young veterans and I'm saying to myself, well, I don't know if both of them would be in it. But who knows? Maybe that ends up being what happens to Wes Lee. Maybe that someone else gets brought up to the main roster. Maybe there's a female that's going to be in this group. But one thing about Mace, we all agree that he's pretty damn good in the ring. But his talking is not his strength. You go on my Twitter and listen to LA Knight's promo bringing out Mace. 95% of it had nothing to do with Mace. But his presence, the way he talks, he cuts a promo, he puts down the local area. The guy just has it. Why waste it? Why not expand? And I love what Chris said, and I love everyone out there that is saying, yeah, man, if anybody could pull this off, it's probably LA Knight. Now, let's give it some time. Let's hope that WWE does not creatively strap him. You know, it seems like they trust him to say what he needs to say and doesn't have to use a lot of pre-made lines that may not sound smooth. But I love it. I love it. Let's give it some time. Let's see what happens. Okay. Vincent Ricci. How am I doing? First time in the chat. What is going to happen with the wrestlers that are in the Nightmare Factory? The wrestlers that are running, you're talking about the school? Those wrestlers working the school are training the wrestlers of tomorrow. The Nightmare Factory is not an AEW-owned school. Yes, a lot of trainees are getting opportunity on AEW Dark, AEW here, AEW there. But AEW does not own the Nightmare Factory. So Cody, his involvement, that doesn't change. But since he is wrestling full-time and he is one of the most important wrestlers in WWE, his direct involvement in the Nightmare Factory will be drastically reduced. It's not going to be a conflict of interest if that's what you're thinking. That is an excellent question. That is an excellent question, and I am definitely going to make sure it's in a synopsis for tonight. Nothing really changes there. So I hope I answered it, the way you wanted. Rockstar Wolfie, do I feel Cody is a bigger star in WWE than he was in AEW? Sure. WWE is $1 billion company. WWE has a crazy marketing machine. WWE has so many deals in so many different countries. So Cody Rhodes instantly is 1,000 times a bigger star than he was in AEW. That's not a knock on AEW. Not at all. That's why I hate comparing the two products. I stop. Once you get into TV PG and TV 14, that's where I stop. Because when people do demographics and they say, well, AEW does better with 18 to 34-year-olds. All he should. Let me ask you all a question. I know this is exaggerating, but let me ask you all a question. If you have a PG movie, and you have a Disney movie, doesn't have to be cartoon, it's just produced by Disney. G-rated, PG-rated. How many of you would consider going in the G-rated movie over the PG-rated? You don't have kids. You and your significant other, or you and your friends. You walk into a movie theater. Hey, we got a G movie, we got a PG movie. Blood, violence, strong language, maybe a little sexual overtones, and you see G. Fun. No wonder why 18 to 34-year-olds will want to go for the TV 14 a little bit more than the TV PG. We're not going to see, a double wedding. Then again, wouldn't that be something if AEW teases a wedding with Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti down the line? Holy fucking shit. Would that be toxic? Oh my God. I don't know if Tony Khan would have the balls to do that. And I say that as a compliment to Tony Khan. I'm not disrespecting Tony Khan right now. The only reason why I say it is If Tony Khan ever teased a wedding for Sammy and Tay on AEW television, that would say to me that Tony Khan has balls the size of grapefruits or cantaloupes, because you know a lot of hardcore AEW fans, and the ones that are not liking Tay and Sammy, they still think Tay is a homewrecker, which she's not. They would throw it in Tony's face. This is WWE shit. The fuck you giving us a wedding for? This is WWE shit. Oh my God. If Tony ever did that, seriously, I would consider running down my block naked with just pasties on. Because there's no way. There's no way Tony Khan would do that. Oh my God. I'm going to put that in the title tonight, but I have to do it in a way that it doesn't come off as clickbait. Sammy Tay wedding. Would Tony do it? Seriously, you don't think that would be toxic? Oh my God. Talk good about me, talk bad about me, just talk about me. Oh, wow. Gruss. Not making fun of him. What would the wrestling industry look like if WCW survived to 2005? That's an interesting year for you to choose. That would be 4 years after it went out of business. That would be about 3 years after NWA TNA started. I don't think it would have been much different. I mean, look, you still would have had WCW as a giant promotion. I don't know if TNA would have ever kicked off. I don't think NWA TNA would have started if WCW was around until 2005. I could see NWA TNA starting 2005 or later, but I think that would be the only difference. You would have some wrestlers that probably would have already left WCW, went to WWE at that time. But I think if it would have done anything, it probably would have just delayed NWA TNA's existence. Would have been interesting because NWA itself was in so much disarray in 2001. Makes you wonder if NWA would have just stood in the sidelines to 2005. So, thank you, Mr. Rubio. I will absolutely have myself a keto bulletproof coffee tomorrow on you. I thank you very much for that. Steve Joseph with the super chat. Does New York have the funds to fix the closed circuit cameras in the subway station? That should be a top priority. Of course they have the money. Of course they have the money. New York has money for everything. It's just they cut corners. They are very, very sloppy. With this COVID stuff still lingering, there are more people still working from their home than you think. You have government. Listen, my father told me, I've never said this before. My father told me this 30 years ago. He told me to be a cop, and I actually did pass the police exam. I actually showed proof on one of the Thursday shows last year here. But my father said, get a job with New York City. Because if you get a city job, no matter what you do, you're pretty much set for life. Because they get away with so much shit. No, they have the money. They just cut corners. New York is so big, and there's so many cameras that cameras fail more than you can imagine. There's so many shortcuts. They cut it on security. They cut it on everything you could possibly think of. They cut it on sanitation. They cut it on law enforcement. They try to wing it, and sometimes it shoots them in the face. You think that station is the only one that doesn't have cameras working? Right now, you got all these news stations. For those that don't live in New York, you got all these news stations that are all trying to get the one person who's going to leak out that New York City has tons and tons and tons of subway stations that cameras don't work. There's so much. Look, you see all these attacks of people being pushed and shit going down, and saying you never ever see any camera footage of it. It is so widespread. Yeah, they have the money. They just, spend it on other things. They spend it on, different causes and this and that, and it gets neglected. Dorian Moore, what if Bret Hart would have never gone to ECW instead of WCW, would have never gone. You think when Vince screwed him, when he lost to Shawn Michaels, he would have been, how do I do it like this? He would have been in the middle of the ring. and then spit in Vince's face? If he would have done that, and seriously, if he would have spelled out ECW in the middle of the ring and spit in Vince's face, Vince would have looked at him, wiped it off, and he would have said, come on, spit more, spit in my face. Go fight the Sandman. Go fight Scorpio. Bret Hart would have never gone to ECW. The fans would have loved him. I would have loved him in ECW. But, you're talking about 1997. This is when ECW started pay-per-view. This was, the screw job was shortly after Born to Be Wired, that match with Terry Funk and Sabu. ECW, the hardcore aspect was just catching on mainstream. So, Bret Hart and ECW, it would have been cool, but I think it would have fizzled out pretty quickly. I could give you 10 matches that he could have had, 10 different opponents, but no, it wouldn't have been like a spectacular fit if he would have went there. No, I don't see that at all. All right. VJ, am I watching anything good on Netflix? No. He says there's some real life documentaries, something called Watch Don't Fuck with Cats. I have nothing against cats, but I like dogs. I've been around, I had cats when I was young. One was Fluffy, and I can't remember the other cat's name. One was Fluffy, and one, I can't remember. But me, I was always dogs, I don't know. I kind of feel like a cat sometimes because I just want to lay in bed all day long and sleep. So, but no, I don't watch Netflix. I like watching YouTube documentaries. I've been binge watching a channel called Fascinating Horror. I think that's what it's called, Fascinating Horror. It's little like 10-minute documentaries about like crazy shit that's happened in the past. Go check it out on YouTube. Tell him I said hi. Michael Gonzalez, how big of a missed opportunity was it by WWE not doing John Cena versus The Streak? I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. Look, so many people wanted John Cena to turn heel. John Cena versus The Streak. CM Punk took on Undertaker. A lot of people don't think about it, but Brock Lesnar beating The Streak was a shock. When you had those infamous looks on people's faces like, that was genuine. That wasn't just, and this is someone, and then the camera's on him like this. And then when the camera's walking away, no, those reactions were real. John Cena, if he would have taken on The Undertaker, I think almost everybody would have felt that Undertaker was going to hand him his ass. And if John Cena would have beaten The Undertaker, I think there would have been tons of garbage and debris thrown into that ring. It would not have been a crazy buy rate because everybody, including me, expected The Undertaker to retire with an undefeated streak at WrestleMania. So even with Brock, people expected him to beat Brock Lesnar as well. So if you say John Cena versus Undertaker in a retirement match or something like that, and this would have been 10 years ago, then I would have said, okay, maybe that's money because there's rumors at that time John Cena going full-blown Hollywood, Undertaker maybe start packing it up. 10 years ago, he could still do a little bit more. Then I could see money there, but not versus The Streak. I don't think many people would have expected Cena to do it, to take the streak. Oh, I wasn't really picking my nose. I mean, if you really you could go like this and it really looks like it's all the way up there, but I'm just, my knuckle. No. We're just at the surface. I don't do that. No. By the way, happy birthday, Roddy Piper. We were talking a little bit about Piper yesterday and today. Today's his birthday. I think he would have been 68 years old. Man, sad to see how fast the years go by. Look, we all got to go. We're all going to go. I hope that there's an awesome afterlife. I hope I get I hope when it's my time to go, I hope I see my grandmother. I hope I see my dog. I hope I see some of my friends who have now passed. I hope I see some friends in wrestling, and I hope there's no like entrance fee or, hey, we need to read your resume before we let you in. I want to close my eyes and then wake up a second later and have everybody, including any of you, who meet your demise before yours truly. Don't forget, put question or, giant capital Q before your question. I'll keep going, man. We're at 51 minutes, so we still have a little while. I figured we go about an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes, so we still got time. Kevin Milwaukee is asking, is it true that comedy is tragedy plus time? I don't think of it like that. I think comedy is a feeling. I mean, laughing, comedy, putting a smile on your face, there's a chemical reaction to that. Yeah, I don't get into that, like, the technical definition. Look, if I feel good, you make me smile. I get this warm feeling inside. I don't have to look over my shoulder. I don't have to look down and see that I peed my pants out of worry. Comedy is, laughing, fun, smiles. And I chose that. 2+ years ago, like I said, it's not to throw shade on any other co-host or any other show. But the last thing I wanted to do after all of these years is just do a show because I'm still doing it. And, you talk about Cornette, lazy booking. One of the things that you learn, and I still, no BS, I still check out YouTube. I check out some of the biggest successful people out there. None of them do wrestling shows. And I pick their brain and get advice and things like that. And the one thing that they all said in different ways is you do a show based on what your viewers and listeners want, not what you feel like talking about. Hey, I feel like talking about, food. If you're a food channel, that's fine. But today I'm going to talk about food. And next week I'm going to talk about drink. And the week after I'm going to talk about ties. And the week after that I'm going to talk about the best of Bill Murray. And then the week after that I'm going to talk about restaurants. And I'm going to talk about my favorite foods. Lazy podcasting. So Eddie K, not so much a question, but look out this Wednesday for a Don Tony sign on Dynamite. Love it. Love it. By the way, Wednesday night Dynamite, I expect probably a return next Wednesday. I've been doing Patreon on Wednesday, and I've been taking Tuesday off other than the watch party. And it's been pretty good, man. I mean, having that extra day off to rest and relax, no reason why we can't talk about Dynamite on a Thursday. I know we're in the Dynamite frame of mind Wednesday night, 10 p.m., but everybody and their mother is doing a podcast at 10 o'clock. I don't want to do a show at 10 o'clock because everybody else does one at 10 o'clock. I want to do it, and I want to do it on a nice, good schedule. Don't get burned out, so that's one of the reasons too. Plus, like I said, man, there's a respect factor. I don't expect anybody in AEW to directly respect me. Who the fuck am I to ask for something like that? But it's just an overall vibe. You're going to call anybody that criticizes your product a robot, a troll, a hater. Well, fuck you then. Why should I, lose sleep? Why should I spend all this extra time, energy, drawing thumbnails, putting content together, putting out analysis, this is and that, and doing it at their, preferred times and promoting it and do all this stuff. And because people criticize, you're ignored, you're a bot, you're a hater, you ask for a press pass 3 times, you get no response. That's all respect. You disrespect me indirectly, I disrespect you indirectly. But I will still talk about it on Thursday because a lot of you tuning in want to hear me talk about that stuff. So I ain't going to screw you over because of any of their indirect disrespect. But for me, respect is one of the most important, biggest things to have. Respect, period. And respect, I feel is earned. It's not just thrown around, can't be bought. So respect is a big deal. I can't tell you how many people over the years, and people have said it publicly, all right, this guy's an asshole. This guy says some, shit that pisses me off. But you know what? He tells it like it is. He tells it the way he sees it. And you got to respect that. So, Gruss is back again. What would the WWE do if Roman Reigns got injured and had to leave for a year? Gruss, it's happened. It could happen again. It could happen to him. It could happen to Big E, unfortunately. It could happen to anybody. Their roster is deep enough that if Roman were to go down with an injury, we hope his other health issues don't come back. You got Brock Lesnar. Ready? Take the ball. You got other wrestlers that you can put in that spot. They can get away with, for the time being, Roman having both belts. They can get away with right now with the Usos having both belts. You're going to see in the very near future the Usos and Roman Reigns walking around with 6 championships. And we may actually then see the unified titles that we talked about a couple of months ago. But that's just temporary, because right now, unfortunately, the WWE tag team division is shit. Yes, it's their own fault. It's their own creative fault, but it is what it is. Alpha Academy, Street Profits, Viking Raiders, Ludwig and Gunther, any the Latin Kissers, doesn't matter who it is. They're not burning down the house right now. They're not big time money makers right now. They're complimentary, but you're not going to go to a restaurant and say, give me the Street Profits. I'll take the Viking Raiders. What would you like on the side? And give me a little bit of Alpha Academy on. They're all side dishes right now. And that is a lot of WWE's fault. Alpha Academy, shoosh. That was given, they earned it. But they're not going to be the focal point. Once a tag team not named the New Day can get some big time momentum, hopefully by SummerSlam, that is when you will see the titles then divvied up again. This is just temporary. This is not, because I'm right or anybody else is right or we predicted that. No, it's just right now the division is shit. Everybody now is talking about Drew McIntyre is going to be the one to beat Roman other than Cody. Oh, really? You look at Drew McIntyre for the last 7-8 months. Why does anybody say, whoa, he never defended the title in front of an audience? What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? They come up with Drew McIntyre because they can't come up with anybody else. We said a couple of times, when Roman loses, I expect it to be to 2 different people. When that time comes, it'll happen. But right now, there's no need to have 2 sets of champions when the division is crappy. Who is RK Bro going to feud with on Raw other than Alpha Academy or the Street Profits? I'm sure we can have 2 other people start teaming up, and there's probably another tag team that's escaping me right now. You could have Edge and Damian Priest. Shit, I still want Finn Balor to join that group. You could have Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I think that would be freaking phenomenal. But by the time that storyline builds and gets to that point, right now they're going with the unified storyline. Muhammad, good evening, Muhammad. Why do people and companies try to push female wrestling even though they won't get the same interest or draw as men? Well, it depends on the promotion. It depends on the promotion. You look at AEW and you realize that the women's wrestling is so less used on Rampage and Dynamite, especially Dynamite. I mean, that is, they're the ones, like I always say, the only people who should be paying close attention to the ratings are the networks, the advertisers, and the promotions. So believe me when I tell you, if the women's wrestling in AEW was killing it in the ratings, they would be on TV just as much as the men. And if you notice this, every time some of the women, not all, but some, they had to do hardcore bleeding profusely to like get a t-shirt or get over or something like that. And most of them kind of have pinned in their profile, when they bled like pigs. If that's the formula to get yourself over, unless you're a big star in AEW, then that's what it is. Every promotion is different. And you will see some promotions that will force the intergender matches. If their audience likes the intergender matches, because there are some promotions out there that a lot of their matches is male versus female, man versus woman. And if their audience wants that, their audience will get it. If you have promotions out there that the women are getting a better reception than the men, you will see the women dominate some cards. You will see some promotions that will put a certain number out there because they feel they got to make a quota. And trust me, especially for smaller promotions, if they start losing interest, they start losing ticket sales, they start losing money because they insist of having 4 women's matches on a card, you'll see very quickly where they will trim that down to 2. So every promotion is different. You have to talk about a specific promotion in order to really try to understand it. But again, if you just look at WWE and AEW, if a lot of these women were not, selling merch, getting a lot of exposure, you would not see them on TV. They kind of forced it many years ago, WWE, but a lot of the women on that roster now deserve the TV time that they get. They deserve that TV time. So, every promotion is different. Every promotion is different. But again, they micromanage their numbers. So they see a lot of things that we don't. They see trends. They see a lot of things about the women's wrestling, and that will determine where they go as far as the utilization of women on their shows. Jordynne Grace is great. Ramson, I like Jordynne Grace. She could go toe-to-toe with a lot of male wrestlers out there. Remember Tessa Blanchard? Tessa Blanchard could do it as well. It was funny. I got to pull this picture up. You'll get a kick out of this. I'm sure you've seen this picture in the last couple of days. I have not had a chance to put this picture up here, but I'm going to put it up here now. Since we brought up Tessa Blanchard, let me just add a layer to this so you can see this picture. One of the things about Tessa Blanchard that people still get angry about to this day is the fact that Tessa Blanchard beat Brian Cage. And I saw this picture the other day, and I was pretty amazed that we have a picture, and I'm a big Brian Cage fan. You all know that. The way he's used in AEW is ridiculous. But this picture on the screen now is Brian Cage posing with Carlito and from Crime Time. Look how small he looks. JTG. Look at JTG's arms compared to Brian Cage. Is that crazy? You look at Carlito's. And Brian Cage is freaking jacked. He's jacked. But I looked at this picture and I'm like, something just does not seem correct over here. And it's not Brian Cage's height, because I've seen Brian Cage in person. Brian Cage is not a very tall man, but that guy is massive. But you put him, I'm looking at it right now, you put him next to JTG. Even if it's, look, I don't know if I could edit right now. I don't think I can, but let me see if I could take Carlito out of this picture. Let me see if I could take him out of this picture. Will this work? Let's see. May not work. No, it's not going to work. After a while, my software kind of like gives out and I can't start editing once we're live. You look at that picture of just Brian Cage and JTG, you would be like, holy shit, JTG looks like massive, huge compared to Brian Cage. It's not a fake picture. It is not a fake picture, guys. I saw that and I'm just looking and I'm focusing. Just before we move on, just look at Brian Cage's biceps and look at JTG's. That's crazy. That is crazy. But Tessa Blanchard had a good match with Brian Cage, and Brian Cage lost. A lot of people got very, very angry. Like, because I think a lot of people were not used to the intergender matches as much as it's been around. It's been out there a lot more than I think a lot of people realize. So, I should Photoshop my head on Brian Cage's body, right? Even for a joke. I would never want to look like that. I'm talking about any of those guys, because the amount of work that I would have to put in for that is just no way. I mean, I would be doing a show and I'd be like, yeah, so Raw tonight in San Antonio, here's the results. And hey, shout out to Joey. Hey, Joey. I'd be like this. I wouldn't be able. Then I wake up and I have to eat like egg whites all day long. No. I'll take a little bit of the flabby. Le dude. How much fish can Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? Enough that he could have fed a lot of people on Good Friday. Actually, you should have asked him that on Good Friday. Hey, Bobby, you having anybody over for Good Friday? Question, Bobby, since you don't eat meat on Friday, how much fish could you fry if you could fry fish, since it's Good Friday? Somebody should have asked him. Bobby, hey, Bobby, it's Friday. It's Good Friday. You got to fry the fish. I bet you nobody asked him. And you know what? One of you should do that. I won't do it. One of you should. You should go on Bobby Fish's Twitter tonight and say, hey, Bobby, I'm just curious. Did anybody ask you on Good Friday, since there's no meat, how much fish did you fry? Since you could fry fish? He ain't going to block you. I promise you he won't block you. Yes, that is from the fan, Robert De Niro. Remember? What was Wesley Snipes' name? Bobby? I can't remember the last name. I remember Wesley Snipes' name in the fan. It was Bobby. Can't remember the last name. Hey, Bobby! Bobby! Yeah, we're a little pumped tonight. I'm having a good time. We had a good weekend. Had a good week, to be honest with you. Tomorrow we have Raw. I think Mish will be on. I kind of feel bad that he got a lot of heat for not being on last Monday. He was with family. I mean, and I know he wasn't making it up. I know sometimes, some people are like, no, he was legit with family. Oh, look who just stopped in. Showstopper TV. Bobby Rayburn. There you go. Hey, Bobby. I don't want to keep clapping because I guarantee you, like people that are in audio only, I'll be doing that and they're going to be like, hey. Those claps, even though I have kind of a decent mic, trust me, especially if somebody's wearing headphones, are going to be like. I always talk about toxic wrestling fans, but are fans from other sports as toxic as well? Well, Steve Bartman is fucking 20 years ago. More than that. And the Cubs have won the World Series since. Look, the Cubs, you got to understand something. The Cubs had not won the World Series since what, 1906 or 1908? I think it was 1908. You had the Black Sox scandals because, look, you're talking about Illinois. you know, you're talking about the Cubs, all the futility. They had some beautiful players over the years, but they can never win the big one. And, you look at the Red Sox, they were the only Sox that were successful. Even the Red Sox had a lot of futility for a very long time. When Moises Alou went to catch that ball and Bartman tried to catch the ball, he wasn't trying to screw Moises Alou. And I honestly don't think Moises Alou would have caught the ball even if Bartman just sat there and just watched. It's your instinct. It's your instinct. The fly ball is coming. You're sitting in the crowd. You think the ball is coming to you, foul territory. You don't, and then you see the ball is a little bit in front of you. Your natural instinct would be like, it was not intentional, and he was the scapegoat. Just like Bill Buckner. I fucking loved Bill Buckner, who did play on the Cubs in the 70s. I loved Bill Buckner. And I felt awful what happened to him in 1986. I'm a hardcore Mets fan. And even us in New York didn't thank Bill Buckner. He got a sarcastic round of applause in Game 7. But the thing is, in Game 7, Calvin Schiraldi blew the game. You have others. Bob Stanley sucked. You had other people who were responsible for the Red Sox losing also. They had Game 7 to win. Bill Buckner did not screw Game 7. He, was really shoved out of baseball. That guy was a Hall of Famer at that time. And the thing is, when you have, that many years and decades of no World Series wins, you will take someone and insist that they are the reason why they didn't win. Bartman was not the reason why the Cubs didn't win the World Series that year, and Bill Buckner was not the reason. He was one of many people. But you have toxic fans everywhere. You have it in movies. You have it in baseball. You have it in politics. I can't remember the social media platform. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 1999. I don't remember the name of the platform, but somebody had come out. Huge props if anybody remembers what it was. Somebody came out with a chat software. And, oh my God, it's a one word too. It came out in 99. And the guy that developed the software wanted to create some type of chat software where he can chat with all of his friends and family. And this was to keep everybody out from the outside, because a lot of people felt like they had to censor what they wanted to say because other people would be jumping down their throats and be mocked and belittled. What's happening on Twitter now didn't just start 5-10 years ago. This has been going on for decades through other mediums. I can't remember the software, what it was. It's a one-word chat software, and I'm drawing a blank. I'll probably remember. I'll let you know tomorrow. The point is, toxic element has been around for decades and decades and decades. It's not AIM. We all know AIM. It was a chat software that looked like cartoon graphics of a person. Like, you didn't use real pictures. You think I don't know Yahoo and AIM? It's something totally different. I can't remember right now. It's not any Instagram. It's not around anymore. It was discontinued in like the mid 2000s. So I'll get it. I'll let you know tomorrow. It's not. I can't remember it right now. But no, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. But in wrestling, it sucks because the people, like we were talking about the religion stuff yesterday, we were not complaining about what happened in the Page Cole match. We had no problem with the spot. What we had a problem with were people on social media that found it funny to make fun of Good Friday. That's, you saw everybody and their mother act like they were a genius, whether on social media or through their podcasts, saying like, The fuck is wrong with these people? There was nothing wrong with that match. Look at all these fucking triggered people. This and that. That wasn't the problem. Of course, you had some people that were using that as ammunition to rip AEW. But the thing is, no, it was the actual people on social media that found it funny to make fun of Christians and Catholics. And then it would double down, triple down, quadruple down. And I told you that one guy that owns a wrestling promotion that actually said, what the fuck do we need 3 days to celebrate Jesus for? That's where it's no longer about a wrestling match or anything like that. This is like, and that's what the problem was yesterday. But it's awful. And I see people still putting names up there. It's not net meeting. That's a good one. It's not net meeting. You know what? I promise you, because I have somewhere inside, I do have something saved from it. One of my old hard drives. Tonight, I promise you, you have my word. I will not do a show tomorrow if I don't do this. Tonight, as soon as this show is over and I get it online, before I go to sleep tonight, in the community section, I will post the name of the software. I'm positive. Then everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Favorite seafood pasta dish before my keto days? I'm not a big seafood either. Yeah, I could do the old joke. Yeah, I eat seafood. Everything I see, I eat. Pasta. I love tortellini Alfredo. I've actually had a cheat meal 2 or 3 times over the last 3 years. I had tortellini Alfredo, linguine with garlic and oil, which is the reason why I don't smoke weed. I mean, a lot of you already know this story, but the last time I smoked weed, it was probably about, let's see, I was doing the work in XPW in 02, 03, so it was around 04, 05. And I smoked a little bit of chocolate Thai, and I did our podcast or whatever it was. And then at 3:30 in the morning, I was hungry, and I was fiending for linguine with garlic and olive oil. So I was wide awake. I went into my other room. I started frying up garlic. I boiled the pasta. I made linguine with garlic and oil, loaded it up with a bunch of pecorino romano cheese. I look at the clock. It's almost 4:30 in the morning. I will not smoke weed ever again. Yes, the marijuana spaghetti fiasco. Let me tell you something. Those are fun memories. I will never name names, but, a few of them are in AEW now, but I'll never forget one of those nights in XPW, passed out, knocked for a loop in a deep coma sleep, and my door banging. Open the door. Oh, I forgot to give you a pipe back. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Kevin, I don't think we're going to be doing calls tonight. We've been doing live chat, and we're actually almost 10 minutes away, but maybe we'll bring it back next week. It's all about the vibe. It's really, you're the first person tonight that's actually been asking. So like I said, I don't want to just bring it just to bring it. And quite a few of you out there have given me feedback, and they're like, look, we like the calls and everything, but it was the same thing that was happening many, many years ago. Same over and over. And I'm fine with that. But, for the entire audience, if people just enjoy the live chat instead, but, I was thinking, I was thinking about something with Thursday, but no, I don't want to strap it and limit it to everybody. So, you know what? We'll bring it back next week. Actually, what I'll do is I'll post something in the community section. How many of you out there would be seriously want to call in next week? And we'll see what kind of response we get. And sure, it doesn't mean that you have to call in, but that's what I'll do. I'll post something in the community section and see who really wants to call in. And if there's enough demand, we'll do it. We'll do it. I don't like doing voicemails. I was doing that for a while. The problem is, look, when we did questions Thursday with Joe Cronin, I had said to everyone, look, keep your question very quick to the point, because there's only so much text you could put on the screen. And we had a few people that put like 4 or 5 sentences. And when I trimmed it down, somebody politely, in the comment section was like, well, that wasn't a question that I said. And then someone else emailed me and was like, why couldn't you just post my question the way I wrote it? And I didn't even answer back, but I'm saying to myself, and what happens also is when you do the voicemail, like if I say, keep it within 30 seconds, and then what'll happen is you'll get someone that'll call back 5, 6, 7 times. Oh, as I was saying, and blah, 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 because I did that. I had a voicemail service, and I had had 3-minute limitation, and people were leaving 3-minute messages. And me, I love it. I love it. But I have to also, base it on everybody out there, and everybody's like, oh, get to the point already. So you try to trim it down, and it's butchered. So I try to find a happy balance. The problem is, you get some people, but then if you leave people out because they just, and a lot of people also want to chime their own opinion. Like, hey, DT, what are your top 3 female wrestlers right now? Oh, for me, it's Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte Flair, she's got all the tools and this and that. And I got to tell you got to go with Bianca Belair too. She's the EST, the greatest, the smartest, the shittiest, the this and that. And we can't forget Thunder Rosa. Blah, 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 blah. And the next thing you know, it's like I could have taken out the garbage, done laundry, fed. Well, I don't have any dog right now, and like, what do you do about that? So it's not as easy as you all think. Trust me. I try to come up with different ideas, and the problem is you don't want to exclude anybody. Even when I do Patreon, we still have a Patreon. I don't know how much longer it's going to be around, but we have a dedicated VIP associate producers. They send questions in, and we try to keep those shows an hour to an hour and a half. Keep it fresh. And, we say, like, look, you're going to send in multiple questions. Just keep it rapid fire, because it's not fair to spend 2 minutes on each of 20 people leaving questions. And then you got someone that writes this much, and then you trim it down to this, and then they get upset. And that happens. So it's not as easy to try to get that happy balance there, but you try to please everybody. So, all right. Let's answer some more questions and let's get out of here. Best finisher today. That's like, now I got to think of every wrestler. I like Aleister Black's finisher, Malachi Black, excuse me. I like Bryan Danielson's label lock, because trust me, you go on the bridge of the nose and you pull back. And I used to do this in school. How many of you used to make fun of someone? Hey, look at her, Piggy. Look, Piggy. Yeah, push a little bit harder when you start hearing crackling sounds with the cartilage on your nose. So you push up and you see the nose going like this. You feel like, oh, that's got to hurt. Man, I used to love Paul Orndorff's pile driver, because he used to jump up before he would go down. I mean, the Undertaker's was great because it always looked like it bounced off the mat. But Paul Orndorff's, it's like he would get like extra momentum by jumping up first. That shit was crazy. But no Forbidden Door access on wedding night. What was the chat room called? Oh my God. We had 123 flash chat. That probably was the biggest one that we had at that time. That's crazy. We used to have thousands of people show up in the chat. I mean, obviously it's not like that anymore. It's all right. I swear I'm not trying to like sound like a dick or pandering, but believe me when I tell you, I know that there's shows that have thousands of people who tune in live. I kind of like the audience being a little bit smaller, because then you feel like you're talking to everybody, or you're answering almost as many people as you possibly can. I watch some people's shows live and they're not even wrestling, and the chat goes like this. I'm like, hey man, much love from Queens, New York. And I type it. And before, the guy Lamont at large, I love Lamont. And I'm going to try to get him on to do a little wrestling talk. He's the one with the graveyards and everything. And, like, I'll go on his live stream sometimes, and he's got like 800, 1,200, 1,500 people live. And I'll type like, hey, Lamont, continued love, Queens, New York. And I type enter, and it goes like this. And I'm like, do I type it again? And then you get someone that says, stop spamming the chat. So I kind of like, having smaller, because then, I don't have to see the chat go. Kind of my sex life. Rob S. Will Rhea turn on Liv tomorrow? I don't know about tomorrow, but they're going to lose, and Rhea will be mad, and Rhea will walk out. And I don't know. It would be interesting to see Rhea like walk out of a locker room, and on the sign it's like Edge or something like that. I'm not saying that's kind of goofy, but you know what I mean. I don't know if she turns on Liv tomorrow, but she will definitely be frustrated. There's got to look, if they are going to lose, but if Rhea, if Liv were the one to get pinned, like for Rhea to have this over the top temper tantrum, I'm just waiting for Nikki Ash to go on her Twitter. I told you also. I told Eddie. I told all of you. I was right all along. Rhea, I told all of you. And then a week later, Nikki Ash will be like, I kind of dig what Rhea did. That's actually, I kind of commend that. And then you'll have Rhea and Nikki Ash teaming up again, unless Nikki Ash becomes a babyface again. I don't know where I'm going on my honeymoon yet. We actually were talking about today. My fiance was bringing up Arizona. If any of you out there have any suggestions, post it on my Twitter @DonTonyD. If you have any resort, we want to stay in the United States. So if you have any suggestions, she brought up Arizona. So maybe some of you know something in Arizona. We talked about Las Vegas, but I don't want to walk around and, you see like prostitutes all around. I mean, I know they're not everywhere. They got to make their money and everything, but I heard there's a lot of shady people in Las Vegas. I'm kind of nervous about going on. And I know there's a couple of female friends of the show tuning in right now that are going to be like, motherfucker, I live in Las Vegas. It ain't that bad. So if you have any specific ideas, for me, I can't do this. But if it were up to me, I would hang out in a log cabin, nice lake, a little island by myself, and I'd be content with that. Nice little cottage, like you can do a few things also. I don't want to just sit by the water all day. But, she wants to go to like a resort, get a little pampered. She probably wants to go get, facials. I don't do facials. So I don't do makeup. Okay. Some questions and then we'll get out of here. Bring up whatever you want. Jake Roberts' DDT was good. Look, I like FTR's finisher. I like how the Usos brought back 3D. I mean, the only finisher that really would piss me off was John Cena's, because it just felt like, come on. It's almost like it's like a fireman's carry takedown or whatever he used to do, the FU, whatever. I don't know. Some of the moves were kind of awful. I'm not going to Jersey. Fuck that. Let me tell you something about Gilbert Gottfried, and I know a lot of you know this already. I'm very upset, not just about his passing. I'm very upset because some of you remembered about 6 months ago, I said that I want to get cameos from him and Andrew Dice Clay. And I wanted it for the shows. The Adventures of Ford Fairlane is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of those movies that if I just want to laugh and feel good and remember the 90s, I tune that in. I tune into that. Johnny Crunch, that was Gilbert Gottfried's character. Johnny Crunch. And I never did it. Now it's too late. I wanted a cameo from him and Andrew Dice Clay. And I fucking waited And I forgot about it and forgot about it. And I didn't even realize that he was ill. And I know this sounds morbid, but if I knew that he was this ill and he could have passed, I would have fucking put the cameo in as quickly as possible. Hey, Gilbert, just give me something Johnny Crunch for my show. And I would have been fine with that. Even if he was just not in, just was not in the mood. And he's like, this is Johnny Crunch. You're tuning in. I would have been fine with that. And I never pulled it. Never did it. Pissed off. Rumors are Roman will be champion until WrestleMania. Please let me know who is posting those rumors. That is not happening. Rock versus Roman. Look, just because I don't tweet it and save it so then I could tell you, I told you so 6 months from now, I talk about it here. I'm not going to start tweeting every little comment that I say. You all know what I say here. Roman versus Rock should not involve the belt. Rock is not going to be coming back on any extended amount of time. And I don't think fans really would want The Rock to be heavyweight champion again and then do next to nothing. So no, the belt should not be on the line. I don't know if you heard my scenario the other day, but if Rock ends up losing it to Cody Rhodes and possibly Bobby Lashley, I know they're on the same brand before you say anything, or Drew McIntyre, maybe The Rock costs Roman Reigns the titles. Maybe they have some interaction beforehand and Roman, insults The Rock or, does something worse. Rock screws him out of the titles. That leads to the Mania match. That's something also. I don't work in their creative. So you pay me to work WWE creative, then I will give you some creative ideas. But titles are not going to be. Roman is not keeping those belts to Mania. Not keeping those belts to Mania. Will not keep those belts to Mania. My watching baseball, I'm watching a little bit of the Mets. I hear the Yankees have been very futile. There's only 10 games in. The Mets are 7-3, which makes me feel good. I think, what was my prediction? 97 wins this year for the Mets. I'll stick with it. 97 wins. I'll stick with it. Yeah, superstar Billy Graham. He has had quite a few lives. Many times we thought his demise was met and he somehow pulled through. Look, anybody goes to Wayback Machine, go to Wayback Machine and type in wrestling-news.com. You'll see my website from 2002. I know that year at least. And you'll see one of my first designs had superstar Billy Graham right smack in the middle. Loved his work growing up. When he started going after Jericho, you're the devil. Remember all that? I started to really lose a lot of respect for Billy Graham. The Hall of Fame ring, the shit he did with that. He calls Vince evil until Vince gives him a Legends contract, and then everything is cool until he is let go again, and then Vince McMahon is the devil. I understand Billy Graham is going through a lot of pain and suffering physically and mentally for many years now, but I don't like what he has turned into. I didn't hear anything about Virgil suffering a couple of strokes. I hope that's not true. As wacky as Virgil is, I hope that's not true. Do not have any update on Shinjiro Otani. From what I understand, still dealing with the paralysis. He's got obviously his wrestling career is over. Even if he does regain, the feeling in his limbs, but he's got a very long road ahead. I still think about Hayabusa. Talk about someone who everybody forgot. Hayabusa. That is beyond tragic. What happened to Hayabusa was beyond tragic. Very sad. Did not see the latest Broken Skull session with Bubba Ray Dudley. I definitely plan on it. You know, a lot of you know that I actually am a big fan of Bubba Ray. I disagree many times with some of the things that he says. But that's great about living in a free world. Yes, you have the freedom to say dumb shit. And I have definitely had my share of saying dumb shit. I just don't like when people are censored or they're intimidated into being censored. And I said yesterday that little aspect that quite a few of you were talking about today. It's like, DT, I never thought of that. There are people now afraid to hit the like button on Twitter because that's public information. And if somebody else criticizes something about AEW or something in wrestling, and you hit that like button, other people can look and they could say, this son of a bitch liked that asshole's comment. Look at this motherfucker. Let's fuck with him too. So now people are getting intimidated to even liking something. That's when you realize social media is fucked. Really is. Who is the greatest black wrestler of all time? That is a question I cannot answer. It's a question I cannot answer because you look at wrestlers way before I ever became a wrestling fan and how monumental and important that they were. You look at wrestling today. You look at even wrestling from 20 years ago. I mean, favorite wrestler is different, but the greatest black wrestler of all time, you know, that's a popularity contest. I am not the right person to answer that. I can't. And honestly, I think for the most part, most of you would not be able to answer that as well. There are so many wrestlers. I guarantee you old time fans probably would put Ernie Ladd in that category. How many of you would have honestly thought about Ernie Ladd? Then you go into the 50s and the 60s and you could think it's really a question. I honestly don't think it's a fair question only because, you know, it's perception and it's based on how far you go back as a wrestling fan. And if you only know 80s to today, you know you're going to get your share of people who knew the 70s or 60s or 50s or 40s, and they're going to say, oh, how could you leave this person out? So it's not a question that I can answer, to be honest with you. You could go by decade. If you want to say black wrestler of the decade, you could do that. Then you could start looking at each decade, you know, but that's something you really got to like take a step back and think about. I don't think that's a spur of the moment question because there's so many promotions out there and so many wrestlers and a lot that have been forgotten too. With all of my history in wrestling, would I ever do a documentary or a series? No. People have asked me about writing a book. I obviously have tons of stories I could tell, but I wouldn't have the patience to write a book. The Virgil story is true. I take your word for it, John. I don't know how serious the strokes were. Hopefully they were minor, and hopefully, you know, he is being treated for it. You know, I'll never forget. A lot of you may not even know this. When Jim Ross was talking about Ambien and his, I guess we could say this. I think this is fair. I'm not, when he said his original addiction to Ambien, his body became chemically dependent on Ambien. When Jim Ross started talking about suffering strokes because of Ambien use, not abuse, just long-term Ambien use, that scares the crap out of me because for the last 10 years, I am on Ambien. I can't sleep at night. I have crazy pain. It's either I pop tons of painkillers or I pop an Ambien instead. and I take magnesium, I take Tylenol PMs, and I always fear that, I might be an elevated risk of getting a stroke down the line. So I hope to God that Virgil is okay, and whatever, he had is not serious and treatable. Was Sid supposed to go into the Hall of Fame this year? No. In fact, I don't know, because I know not every single one of you tune in to Joe Cronin and I on Thursday, but Mikey was kind enough to send me this WrestleMania program, and this is a very thick, heavy book. It is freaking heavy. It is beautiful. The opposite side is the Hall of Fame book. This was printed a couple of months before the Hall of Fame. You look inside the Hall of Fame side of it, because it's a double book. Obviously, you got the Undertaker. Beautiful. Go to the next page. You got the Steiners and Queen Sharmell. You got Vader and Shaq Gaspard. That's it. I love this. You see this? They show everybody who's in the Hall of Fame. Pretty cool. Goes on and on and on. The what I do notice is they didn't do any celebrity wing this year, or the Legends wing, whatever they call it. You see that on the right? It only goes up to 2021. So they had this plan for a while. So was Sid supposed to go in? It was a guess by a lot of people. I still remember those tweets. You heard it here first. Sid is going in the Hall of Fame this year. Did we hear, was it Bam Bam Bigelow? Wasn't that mentioned also? Wait, Bam Bam is not in. But there was a few people that were brought up that people were like, you heard it here first. Breaking news, you heard it here first. WWE's putting Sid in this year. No. Steiners were not last minute. They made the announcement last minute, but the Steiners, they had it prepared for a while. Listen, let's also be honest. They have quite a few people prepared. But these books were made up, a few months in advance for WrestleMania. These things were I'll tell you the truth. I am shocked that WWE is not selling this book on their website. This was sold for $25 at the arena. And you go in there. I mean, this is not a small book. And it is just incredible. I mean, they even had, look, Lashley and Omos in here. This book is freaking out. I'm going to be giving one away. Someone else is sending me one too. So I might keep one and give one away. I'm sure you all saw the hotel keys, which was incredible. Somebody sent me these. These are the actual hotel keys. These were the hotel keys for the Hilton. So you see the backs? Kept them, sent them to me. So yeah, we'll do a contest very, very soon. We will definitely be doing. I got the souvenir cups inside. I just, I smelled them just to make sure they weren't used, but I'm still going to rinse them anyway. So, all right, let's bring this home. We actually went a little bit longer than we expected, but I'll answer a couple of more questions and we'll go. Batista will be put in next year. Batista, they're waiting for Hollywood. Batista will be put in next year. I see Tony Khan with an announcement. If Tony's announcement is Ring of Honor is going to be on TV, will we have it on TBS or TNT? I guess is what you said. It's not going to be Ring of Honor on TV. Too soon for that. It's way too soon for that. I think it's trios titles. Some people think it's something with New Japan. But if it happens to be Ring of Honor and TV, I would put it on TBS. I would put it on TBS. I don't really think it matters, but you know what I would do if I was AEW? I would announce a Ring of Honor special. Maybe you do a special show maybe a month from now, 6 weeks from now. Could they do a pay-per-view? Sure, why not? In fact, if AEW was smart, and in fact, I'm going to put this as one of the topics for tonight. AEW doesn't do many pay-per-views during a year. And I talked about this with Mish on Patreon the other day. That might be one of their problems. That because pay-per-views are so many months in between, that they can be a little bit lazy with storylines. But if you know that you have a pay-per-view every other month, you kind of like got to keep the storylines a little bit tighter because you're leading to a pay-per-view where you make money. You want to make money. And if they're making good money on these pay-per-views, then you ask yourself, well, why aren't they doing more of them? Seriously, if you're making that crazy money and the buy rate is that great, why not add another 1 or 2 pay-per-views? So you know what I would do? If they're going to keep this pay-per-view schedule for this year and possibly next, why not throw in 2 or 3 Ring of Honor pay-per-views as well? That could be the pay-per-view that could be in between the 2 AEW pay-per-views, and now Samoa Joe gets his opportunity. You could put Jay Lethal on there, where they may not make the AEW pay-per-view, but they can make the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and then you could see what kind of numbers you get. And then you realize what is the worth of some of these wrestlers. So I would be fine if it was a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Yeah, I saw the match with Gresham and Dalton Castle. And they're extra choreographed in the corner and rolling around. People tried to compare it to Charlotte and Becky rolling around. The problem is Charlotte and Becky only did it twice before they rolled around. Dalton Castle and Gresham did it like 7, 8 times. It was goofy. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was just ridiculous because that looks, look, I thought Wild E. Coyote was a dumb fuck. If you look at that corner spot where Gresham kept missing and Dalton Castle kept missing, they were dumber than Wild E. Coyote. If you keep going in the corner and you keep missing, after you get to the second time, you kick the person in the nuts instead. You do that 7, 8 times, that's like the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. The first time they did it in the corner, okay, fine. The second time they did it, okay. Third time, no. And they did it like 8 times. That was, and I've seen that on the indie circuit. That is for the indie circuit. That's not for AEW Saturday night primetime television. If you would have took those 2 spots out or only did it 2 times or 3 times, then I would have been fine with it. But that was overkill. And people could make excuses for it all you want. They could bring up other people's matches. Again, you don't justify stupid shit by showing other people doing stupid shit. Well, they did it. Well, they were stupid too. This is a good topic to wrap up on. Did I hear about, this is a good one. Yeah, this is definitely a good one. VJ, thank you. Did I hear about some scammer pretending to be Liv Morgan on Instagram and some fan selling his house and sent them the money? Okay. Please, I know Liv Morgan is not going to hear this or see this. And I ask each and every one of you out there, please do not get mad at me when I say this. I do insurance for a living. I insure houses that are bought, and I also insure houses that are sold by my current customer, and they may refer me to the new buyer, and I get the closing documents and I get everything. You don't just put a house on eBay. You don't put it on Craigslist. You don't do this. Hey, look, see where it says house? Sign the X and I sell my house to you. There are so many legal E's involved in selling a house. For those that don't know the story, and again, please don't get mad at me. I'm just giving you my first impression of this. For those that don't know the story, Liv Morgan posted on social media that she feels awful for someone. She found out on Instagram that someone thought they were talking to Liv Morgan, thought that Liv Morgan had money problems, and sold their house to give the money to what they thought was Liv Morgan, but they actually gave it to a scammer instead. Okay. My immediate reaction was, what is worse than someone scamming someone out of their house to Liv Morgan? Someone telling Liv Morgan, I sold my house because I thought you needed it. My immediate reaction is, I'm not sure if the person claiming they sold the house actually sold the house. Because you think about selling a house, there's usually lawyers involved. There is filings you have to make. And I got to know the state that it was in. There is so much legality. There is so much scamming. And the seriousness of somebody could go 20 years for that. I'm a little skeptical about someone who claims they told Liv Morgan, I sold my house, I thought I was giving it to you. I just get this feeling inside that the person who said that may, in fact, be lying themselves. Listen, guys, I'm not in any way accusing Liv Morgan of anything. Liv Morgan truly believes that somebody sold their house thinking they were helping Liv Morgan. Wouldn't it be amazing if that person, think about this for a minute, wouldn't it be interesting if that person who went to Liv Morgan and said, oh my God, I sold my house thinking I was giving it to you, and I gave it to a scammer. And Liv Morgan feels terrible. She says, oh my God, how could you get your house back? Well, I have to pay these fees and I got to hire a lawyer and this and that. Wouldn't it be something if the person who claims they sold the house to help Liv ends up trying to scam Liv, they could buy the house back? See, you have to have a nefarious mind. See, how do you out bullshit a bullshitter? You got to think like them. And when I heard that for Liv, I felt awful for Liv, because I do believe that there's very, very good people out there who do get scammed into crazy shit. So do I think someone could have been scammed out of money thinking they were helping Liv Morgan? Look at the guy who thought he was helping Seth Rollins. And look at what happened there. So it doesn't surprise me. But when you get to the point of selling a house, what state do you think this person lives? You think he lives where he just signs on a napkin? Here, I hereby sell my house to Jose C. Scammer or some dumb fuck. You know, like, come on. You actually start thinking about what is involved in selling a house. Seriously, I don't know if Liv Morgan owns a house, but there is so much legalities involved in selling and buying a house that it's not simply, look, I signed my deed and I just shipped it to, Bullshit-iscan, and they own my house now. You don't think it would be on nationwide TV news? You don't think if it happened in Texas, Arizona, Arkansas, New Jersey, California, New York, Hawaii, why is it not covered on the news? How come no news organization said, oh my God, we got to cover this story? We got to interview. Think about it, everybody. Think about it. Would not be surprised if Liv Morgan is the one they're trying to scam. Oh my God, I sold my house, Liv. I thought it was you. It was somebody pretending to be you. Oh my God, I can't believe that. We got to get your house back. Liv, tell us who this person is. Let's all get together. I don't have their information. Well, Liv, you don't have to call the news. You don't have to do this. I just need to hire a lawyer, but I don't have the money. I just gave my house away. They gave me a bad check. Can you pay Western Union me $2,500? If you don't have $2,500, you know what? Give me a Target gift card. Go send me a Target gift card. And scratch off the back and read me the code. And then I could go back to the lawyer. Target has lawyers now. I could go to Target right now, go to aisle 17. And I could get the Target. And the only reason why I'm talking like that is because it is a Indian scam. Go online and type in Target gift card scam. Would not be surprised if the person who claims they sold their house to Liv Morgan is going to try to scam Liv Morgan. I need to hire a lawyer. Oh, what can I do to help? Go to Target and get me 5 $100 gift cards and scratch it off and leave me the numbers. Do not redeem. Give me the numbers. I redeem. I get the lawyer myself. Guys, I'm not trying. I'm trying to be a little lighthearted about it. But, let's not act like we got a clickbait here and stuff like that. Let's just think about common sense here. In 2022, you think somebody just says, sign here. I own the house? What did they do to the house? Tell us the address. Let's go confront the owner. No news media, no nothing. I'm telling you, do not be surprised. You find out somebody was trying to scam Liv Morgan. And Liv Morgan has the heart of gold. She is a doll. Everybody adores Liv Morgan. I talked to a few people that are friendly with her outside of wrestling, and nobody has a bad thing to say about Liv Morgan. She is a wonderful person. And unfortunately, caring, giving, wonderful people are the ones who sometimes are the targets more than anything, because they have just that generosity and good about them. They want to help. So Liv is just a wonderful person. And I do believe that people do impersonate famous people. Look, the stuff that happened with that guy with Seth Rollins, I believe it. I believe somebody tried to scam, pretending to be Seth Rollins. But you're talking a couple of $100. You're talking about a house? That's 20 years in jail. It's 20 years in jail. You signed the deed. Okay, who owns the house? I don't know. No news organization wants to cover it. No police get involved. Just a message. I sold my house, Liv. I thought I was giving it to you. What do you think Liv did? You think Liv said, show me proof. Let me see the deed. Liv wouldn't do any of that. Liv believes that the person who told her that, I get this weird feeling that Liv is the target of the scam. And if it ends up happening, this shit is going to be all over the net. I hope she was not the victim. I hope, you know what? And hear me out while I say this, and then we're going to leave. I hope she was the attempted target of the scam, because then that means nobody did sell their house to a scammer. And I think Liv would probably feel better. If Liv says tomorrow, oh my God, it ended up somebody was trying to scam me, I honestly think she would feel better, because then that means nobody actually lost their house because of her. So we'll see what happens. To be continued, right? In fact, you know what I will do? I will put this clip as its own clip online. And I'll put a link for a couple of scam baiters out there who address Kit Boga. Any of you know Kit Boga? Got to go check out Kit Boga. He is the one that addresses the scams with Target cards and everything. And then you'll understand why I used, the impression I did earlier. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of assholes out there. You fucking racist. No, listen to the scams. Nobody's like, hi, how you doing? My name is Calvin, And unfortunately, I sold my house thinking it was for Liv Morgan. And Liv, if you could help me get my house back, I need you to go to Target. I need you to get me 5 $100 gift cards. And please do not scratch them off. I will scratch them and I will go get the lawyer because they sell it. Nobody talks like that. There's nobody. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Liv. Some scumbag out there fucking talked me into selling the house, thinking I was helping you. How stupid am I, eh? Hey, Liv, you know what you could do for me, Liv? You could go down to Target, and maybe while you're there, you get me a box of cannolis too. But before you go to the cash register, you go get yourself 5 $100 gift cards. Don't redeem them. Just scratch them off and give me the code, and I'll take care of it. And I'll send you the receipts and everything, and I promise you I will personally thank you for it. There's nobody like that. You go online. 99.9% of them are through Calcutta, India. That is the scam. Nobody in the United States is doing it because they go to 20 years. 20 years in jail. Nobody in the United States is going to travel to Calcutta. You're coming with me. You're coming back to the United States. And you're going to face charges in Florida because you scammed somebody out of a house. That is the truth. That is the truth. I used to do that. I used to skip trace credit cards. I used to work for Chase Manhattan Bank. I've told this story before. That's how we got the interview with Paul Orndorff. A lot of you know this story already. When I was doing the Blackheart Sports Entertainment Hotline, it was myself, Brian Damage, Matt Zombie, and Timmy Arson, the ECW Zombie, God rest his soul. And Brian Damage was working in collections for, I think, a cell phone company. Paul Orndorff was late on his bill. And he's calling customers, you're late on your payment, you're going to mail a payment in, otherwise we got to shut your phone off. And he talked to Paul Orndorff, and Paul Orndorff, he says, is this the Paul Orndorff, the wrestler? And Paul Orndorff says, yeah. She says, I tell you what, we have a hotline called the Blackheart Sports Entertainment Hotline. If you do an interview with us, I will put down that you promised to pay the bill and I'll give you an extra 30 days to pay. So Paul Orndorff's like, yeah, I'll do it. So that's why, if any of you have ever heard that interview, because we played it not too long ago, that's why Paul Orndorff says during the show, we're like, hey, thank you for coming on. He says, it's always good to talk to another asshole. Because that's how, and Brian Damage is still online. If you ever go to that website, Ring the Bell or whatever it is, you know, the one that always talks about the wrestle crap, that's Brian Damage. Ask him. We used to do a hotline together. Ask him. Called Ring the Damn Bell. I'm sure you've been on that website. That is the Brian Damage. Ask him. Say, Brian, is that true? That we got Paul Orndorff to do an interview because he was late on his credit card bill. That is God honest truth. So, yeah, that is true. So, a lot of scams back in the day. A lot of scams. But go check it out for yourself. Sorry if I offend anybody out there. Honestly, I don't give a shit because I'm just impersonating what I hear. Go in Kitboga and find me someone that says, hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm Tony. Hey, I just sold my fucking house to someone out there. Eh? You think, look at me, Stunats. I give away my phone. Give me one Kitboga video that does that. How you doing, everyone? I sold my cattle thinking I was helping someone. Help me get my cattle back. Give me one video, then I'll impersonate them. I know I didn't offend anyone. I don't give a fuck. I don't try to offend. I try to be honest and real. All right, I'm out of here. Hope you join me Monday. And yeah, if you enjoyed tonight's show, hit that like button on the way out. Do your friend a solid. I'm the boss, eh? Kabish. Hit that like button on the way out because it does help the algorithm. It tells YouTube, hey, this guy is doing something right. Let me send it to someone else. You know, some of my haters out there. You don't think that sometimes I just like close my eyes and say, oh, I can't wait for them to go on their Roku, click the YouTube app, and the Roku pops up and the YouTube pops up on the screen and they hit their logo in there and it says recommended videos. Don Tony. There's no way to say, I don't want this. That's the cool thing about it. When you get recommended videos, there's no menu on the YouTube app that says, I don't want this. YouTube is just recommended videos, and it just pops up and pops up and pops up and pops up and pops up. So, all right, everybody. Be well. Good night. I will see you after Raw tomorrow. And let's make sure Virgil's all right. And let's find out if Liv Morgan was the victim of a scam.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.